So hello students, so in the last video I think we have discussed about the X-rays, in which we have covered the production of X-rays, right? So that we can classify the X-rays as the continuous X-rays and characteristic X-rays, right? And further X-rays diffraction also. Okay, that means the two types of diffractions, Bragg's scattering and Compton scattering, isn't it? So the scattering part also discussed in the previous videos. Now, so on that small chapter, so there are some numerical problems. Let us try to solve some problems on X-rays in this video. Okay, so I think this is the video part number 6 for you, right, on X-rays particularly. Okay, now problems solving on X-rays. Just note down the first problem. That is a very simple problem. Find the shortest wavelength present in the radiation from an X-ray machine. Okay, X-rays are produced in what kind of machine? You know, it is called Coolidge tube. Okay, so X-rays are produced in the Coolidge tube. So in which the radiation, what you call it as continuous or characteristics. Particularly if you consider the continuous X-rays, so continuous X-rays will have certain minimum wavelength. So what is that minimum wavelength? So you have to calculate that minimum, or you call it as shortest wavelength present in the continuous spectrum produced by the X-ray machine. Okay, so to produce that X-rays, what is the accelerating potential? So that is given here, 50,000 volts. Okay, so because this shortest wavelength depending upon the applied accelerating potential. Okay, so by knowing this accelerating potential, you can calculate the shortest wavelength in the continuous X-rays. Okay, the simple concept it is. Now in the solution part, okay, what is given? Acceleration potential V is equal to 50,000 volts. Okay, and it is asked to calculate shortest wavelength lambda minimum, and you have to consider the equation. We know that lambda minimum relation with the accelerating potential is given by hc by V into E. So where lambda minimum actually is inversely proportional to the applied potential, isn't it? As increase the applied potential, lambda minimum decreases to the shortest wavelength, right? Okay, now V is given anyway, 50,000 volts. So what about the other parameters? hc by E. Okay, h is Planck's constant, c is the velocity of light, and E is the charge of the electron. Okay, so if you know that values hc by E, you can just substitute and substitute the value of V. You can calculate the lambda minimum, or you take this hc by E as constant, you know, so just take it as constant and substitute it as 1.24 10 power minus 6 value. So that means it is already calculated. hc by E is equal to 1.24 10 power minus 6. So V is given. Now substitute that value of V, that is 1.24 into 10 to the power of minus 6 divided by 50,000. Okay, so this you have to calculate. So you will get 2.48 into 10 to the power of minus 11. Okay, so that is the wavelength. Okay, you can write it in meter, 2.48 into power of minus 11 meter. Okay. Okay, next problem is note down, an electron is shot down an X-ray tube across a potential difference of 30 kilovolts. Okay. So that means the applied acceleration potential is again 30 kilovolts here to produce the X-rays. So if it collides with a heavy massive atom of the target, okay, in the X-ray tube there will be a target, okay, to hit the target and to produce the X-rays we have a heavy massive atom in the target. So that it loses all its energy. What is the wavelength of X-rays produced? Okay, now to produce X-rays, how the energy transmission takes place from the accelerated electron to the target atom. Okay, so interaction between the accelerated electron and the target atom electron takes place here to produce the X-rays of certain energy. Okay, so now in the solution part you note down the value of acceleration potential V is equal to 30 kilovolts, and it is asked to calculate just wavelength of the X-rays produced in the tube. The concept is here, just you have to match the energy. So energy of the electron lost by the incident electron okay, that must be equal to the energy of the X-rays of the photon emitted, isn't it? So because the same amount of energy is transmitted to produce the X-ray photon here, so you can just equate that energies, and the energy of the electron is equal to how much? Incident electron, so that is 30 kilovolts. And what is the energy of the photon? H nu is the energy of the photon, equation for energy of the photon. So just substitute the value of now E is equal to 30 kilovolts, and H nu, of course H nu you can write Hc by lambda here, correct? So where frequency is equal to what? Frequency nu is equal to C by lambda, ratio of velocity of light and wavelength of the X-rays. Okay, so to calculate lambda, what you will do? Just take the cross multiplication of the above equation. Lambda is equal to Hc by 30 kilovolts. Okay, so that you can write now, substitute now that equations like H value 6.6 to 10 power minus 34, C is equal to 3 in 10 power of 8. Okay, so 30 kilo 10 to the power of 3. So you have to convert it to joules, you know, that is why you have to multiply by E. Okay, where it is converted from electron volts to joules. Okay, EV is the unit here. Okay, in terms of electron volts you are taking the 30 kilovolts, right? So you have to multiply by 1.6 in 10 to the power of minus 19, so that the value converted from electron volts to joules here. Okay, so in the calculation always you have to consider the energy in terms of joules. Okay, so if you calculate this value, it is found to be 0.414 angstrom unit is the wavelength of X-rays produced in the X-ray tube. Clear? Okay, note down the next problem. An X-ray tube operates at 40 kilovolts. Find the speed with which the electron hit the films. That means like a target. With what speed the electron has to hit the target when the X-ray tube operates at the potential of 40 kilovolts to produce the X-rays. That is the question here. Okay, so given data is V equal to 40 kilovolts, and to find the speed of the electron to hit the target, so consider the concept of the initial energy. Okay, initial incident energy must be equal to the kinetic energy of the electron, right? So you can consider initial applied energy or potential energy is equal to kinetic energy. So formula is EV, because applied potential is related to the energy in this way, isn't it? You have to multiply by electron, charge of the electron. EV gives the energy of the incident electron, and that electron is going to be accelerated with some kinetic energy, right? So formula for kinetic energy is half mv square. Okay, simple formula. Now just cross multiply, you will get equation for v square as by cross multiplication 2ev by m. Okay, so if you want v, okay, taking square root on both sides, v is equal to square root of 2ev by m. Okay, just substitute the values. 2 into e 1.6 10 to the power of minus 19, and applied potential v equal to 40 kilo, 40 10 to the power of 3 is the 40 kilovolts, divided by m. M is how much? Mass of the electron, 9.2 10 to the power of minus 31 kg. Okay, simplified it. So square root of 3.2 into 4 into 10 to the power of 15 by 9.1. Just simplified the next step it is. So finally you will get the answer 11.8 into 10 to the power of 7 meter per second as the velocity of the accelerated electron. Okay, take down the next problem. So a beam of X-rays of lambda equal to 0.842 angstrom. Okay, so in that angstrom unit, so value of lambda, that means wavelength of the X-rays, is given, and is incident on a crystal at a grazing angle of 80 degree 35 minutes it is. Okay, X-rays are incidenting on the crystal. So when the first order Bragg's reflection occurs, so this particular angle gives the first order Bragg reflection. Okay, then it is asked to calculate the facing angle for third order reflection. Okay, so as you know, according to Bragg's law, the maximum intensity occurs with various glancing angles, right? So the first order we have this particular angle as a glancing angle. Similarly, second and third also is possible. Particularly they asked here third order reflection to occur, what is the corresponding facing angle? Facing angle, glancing angle, all are same here. Okay, so data is given, lambda is equal to 0.842 angstrom per minute, theta is equal to 8 degree 35 minutes for n is equal to 1. What do you mean by that? First order means you have to take n is equal to 1 in the Brake's law. Okay, so facing angle theta 3 must be calculated here. Okay, calculate that by using the Brake's law equation. Okay, what is the Brake's law? 2d sin theta equal to n lambda, right? So d is the interplanar spacing, not given. Theta is the glancing angle or facing angle, whatever it is. Okay, write down that value of theta as 8 degree 35 minutes for first order. That means n is equal to 1. Substitute n is equal to 1 and corresponding lambda is constant. Okay, for first order it is. Now for third order reflection, write down the same Brake's law by substituting n is equal to 3 now. Okay, so 2d sin theta 3 must be calculated here. 2d sin theta 3 and n is equal to 3, lambda is same. Okay, so let it be equation 2. Now dividing this equation 2 by equation 1. Okay, that means by using these two equations 1 and 2, you can take the ratio like 2d sin theta 3 divided by this 2d sin 8 degree 35 minutes. So that you can cancel 2d on numerator and denominator. So left with sin theta 3 divided by sin 8 degree 35 minutes is equal to what? Right hand side we have 3 into 0.842 10 power minus 10 divided by 0.842 10 power minus 10 again, so that you can cancel that also here. Left with only 3. Okay, that's it. By cross multiplication you take now sin theta 3 is equal to that 3 into the sin 8 degree 35 minutes. Sin 8 degree 35 minutes value is 0.15. Multiply to 3 will give you 0.45. Okay, so how do you calculate theta 3 now? So theta 3 is equal to sin inverse of that 0.45. Okay, so we'll get the value in terms of degrees as 26.5 degrees as the glancing angle for third order reflection in the Brake's law. Clear? Okay, now look at the next problem. Monochromatic X-rays of lambda 1.5 angstrom per minute are incident on a crystal face having an interplanar spacing of 1.6 angstrom per minute. Find the various orders in which Brake's reflection takes place. Okay, so again based on the Brake's law equation, we can just find out what are the possible orders to get the maximum intensity. Okay, so what is the given data? Lambda equal to 1.5 angstrom per minute. Interplanar spacing for the crystal is given 1.6 10 to the power minus 10 meter. Okay, to find various order, so consider the Brake's law. 2d sin theta equal to n lambda, where n is equal to 1, 2, 3, etc. Okay, the possible integral multiples here. Okay, then for first order, that means n is equal to 1 is the first order. Sin theta 1, you can substitute theta as theta 1 now. Sin theta 1 is equal to, okay, n is equal to 1, you substitute lambda by 2d, you will get the equation. Okay, substitute the value of lambda and d, 0.15 10 to the power minus 10 divided by 2 into d value is 1.6 10 to the power minus 10. Okay, so you will get the calculation value 0.468. If sin theta 1 is equal to 0.468, what is the value of theta 1? Theta 1 sin inverse of 0.468, correct? So you can see that value is 28 degree. First order value is 28 degree, means for 28 degree glancing angle, so the Bragg reflection occurs. Similarly, for n is equal to 2, sin theta 2 now. Okay, so here you substitute n is equal to 2, so 2 lambda you will get, isn't it? 2 lambda by 2d. Okay, so this lambda by 2d is constant parameter here. Lambda by 2d already calculated how much? 0.468, right? So substitute that 0.468 into 2. Okay, so that you will get the calculated value 0.938. Okay, so what is theta 2 now? Sin inverse of 0.938 is equal to 69.7 degree. Okay, so this is the second glancing angle. Similarly, you try for n is equal to 3 with sin theta 3 equal to 3 into lambda by 2d, right? So I told lambda by 2d value is how much? 0.468. Substitute that 0.468 here and multiply by 3. Okay, so now you will get 1.40. So greater than 1. What it indicates? So greater than 1 means theta 3 sin inverse of 1.40 value will be greater than 90 degree. Okay, so if it is greater than 90 degree, so this will not come under the Bragg reflection. Okay, so third order reflection is not possible in the Bragg's conditions. So that you can say only first order and second order maxima would occur. Maximum is what? The maximum intensity after reflection by the crystal. Okay, so it is possible only for first and second order, not for third order. Clear? Okay, the next problem, the K alpha X-rays from palladium, okay, from palladium means some planes are reflected in the first order from a certain crystal. It may be unknown crystal for you, okay, certain crystal at the following glancing angles. It is reflected by certain following glancing angles means you have to consider the glancing angles from which particular planes, crystal planes, okay, 5.4 degree let us say. From which plane it is? 100 planes. Similarly, 7.6 degree from 110 planes. 9.4 degree from 111 planes. So these are actually the Miller indices of the planes, isn't it? 100 are the Miller indices for a particular plane. Similarly, 110 are another set of parallel planes. Okay, 111 are another set of parallel planes. Okay, for that Miller indices are given here. Okay, now show how could this data be used to determine the type of cubic lattice structure possessed by the crystal. That means using this data you have to identify the type of the given crystal structure. Okay, of course they mentioned already cubic. In the particularly cubic there are three types, isn't it? Simple cubic, body centered cubic and face centered cubic. So particularly which type of cubic structure can be formed by this kind of reflection by various planes. Okay, so let us try to use that data. So given theta 1 is equal to 5.4 degree, theta 2 equal to 7.6 degree, theta 3 9.4 degree. So like that you can assume the values of glancing angles for first order, second order and third order. Okay, so now from Bragg's formula, so we have the equation like 1 by d equal to 2 sin theta by lambda. Okay, how it is? Actually 2d by cross multiplication, 2d sin theta is equal to n lambda. So we take n is equal to 1. First order they mentioned already. So take n is equal to 1. Okay, so that you get 1 by d equal to 2 sin theta by lambda. So for first 100 planes, so value of glancing angle is how much? 5.4 degree. Substitute that now here. 2 into sine 5.4 degree by lambda. Okay, so let it be the interplanar spacing for that particular 100 planes is d1 now. Okay, let it be d1. It is not same for all the set of parallel planes. Okay, for different planes different d will be calculated here. So let it be d1 for 100 planes. Next 1 by d2 for 110 planes. So corresponding glancing angle is how much? 7.6 degree. Okay, substitute that and calculate. So it is calculated as 2 into sine 5.4 degrees 0.0941, sine 7.6 degree is equal to 0.1323. Okay, similarly for 1 by d3, okay, for 111 planes you will get 2 sine 9.4 degree by lambda, sine 9.4 degree is equal to 0.1633. Okay, so we get the values. In all these calculations 2 by lambda is common. Okay, so if you take that ratio 2 by lambda will be ignored here. Okay, so let us see now. Take the ratios of all the three, like 1 by d1 is to 1 by d2 is to 1 by d3. So after cancelling common factor 2 by lambda you will get only 0.0941 is to 0.1323 is to 0.1633. Okay, so now if you look at these particular ratios, okay, and these fractional values are obtained in the particular order. So what is that order, you know? So first 0.0941 is nearly equal to 1. Okay, So in the ratio it is 1. So 0.132 will give root 2. 0.1633 will be in the ratio of root 3. Okay, it is matching with the corresponding ratio in the same manner. So this particular sequential order, okay, you have to consider the sequential order as 1 is to root 2 is to root 3 normally for simple cubic. Okay, so that is why this unknown crystal, the sequential order what we obtained here shows that the given crystal has a simple cubic lattice structure only. Okay, so can identify the given crystal must be simple cubic lattice structure. Okay, at the end you look at one more problem on Compton scattering, because they asked here to find the wavelength of primary X-ray radiation. So what is the wavelength of the primary X radiation if upon Compton scattering of this radiation be by graphite at an angle of 60 degree. Okay, the wavelength of the scattered radiation is 2.54 into 10 power minus 11 meter. Okay, so you know that in Compton scattering, so after scattering you will get one more wavelength, so in which the wavelength is increased. Okay, so longer wavelength is obtained after scattering, so that wavelength is given 2.54 into power minus 11 meter. Okay, after scattering. So then what must be the initial incident scattering wavelength? Okay, so that you can see the difference also in the problem. So scattering angle is phi equal to 60 degree and the wavelength of scattered radiation is 2.54 into power minus 11 meter is the given data. So to find now wavelength of incident X-rays, so call it as primary X-rays also. So consider the equation Compton shift. Okay, so you know that the difference in wavelength, or we call it as delta lambda, Compton shift, is equal to 0.24 into 1 minus cos phi. In terms of angstrom unit, directly you will get the difference in wavelength delta lambda. Substitute that cos phi value 60 degree and then cos 60 degree is equal to 1 by 2. So 1 minus 1 by 2 is equal to 1 by 2. So that you will get the value 0.012 as delta lambda. Okay, so then now you can use the equation like lambda plus delta lambda, that increase in wavelength is 0.012, so is added to the initial wavelength. So you have to calculate that initial wavelength, right? So lambda, so is equal to how much? 0.254 10 to the power minus 10 meter. So lambda plus delta lambda must be the scattered wavelength here. Okay, so 2.54 10 to the power minus 11, you take it in minus 10 meter angstrom unit. Okay, now substitute, to find lambda initial wavelength, so 0.254 and minus delta lambda. Delta lambda is how much? 0.012. Okay, so 10 to the power minus 10 is the common factor. So the difference is how much? 0.242. So minus 10 for minus 10 meter means angstrom unit. Okay, so this is the primary wavelength of the incident X-rays on Compton scattering. Okay, so at the end you try these three homework problems. Okay, so just I will read out. The first one is the minimum wavelength recorded in a continuous X-ray spectrum is 0.0247 nanometer. Okay, if the operating voltage is 50 kilovolts, calculate the Planck's constant. Clear? Then the second problem is an X-ray photon of initial frequency 3 into 10 to the power of 19 Hertz collides with an electron and is scattered through 90 degree. Okay, find its new frequency. Simple it is. So instead of wavelength they are given frequency, so you have to convert it to wavelength and then calculate. So finally you can write down the what is the new frequency. If you know the new wavelength, you can calculate the new frequency also according to Compton scattering. Clear? Okay, next problem is X-rays of wavelength 1.6 angstrom are diffracted by Bragg's crystal spectrometer at an angle of 14.2 degree in the first order. Clear? First order, n is equal to 1. What is the spacing of atomic layers in the crystal? Spacing means what? You have to calculate. Okay, interplanar spacing d. Okay, So at the end of the notes, you must try all these 3 problems in your notes. Okay. So in the next video, I will start the next chapter for you. Okay. See you in the next video.